All right, fellas. This one's going to be a quick one on just how I kind of doubled my chest growth over the years. This photo you see on the left was around 2 years ago, and this was taken just after summer. As you can see, pretty similar photo, and my chest nearly doubled in size. And I want to share the secrets of how so I did it. It's not that difficult when you know what to do. That's kind of what I want to share with you. Why chest though? I think it goes without saying it's the most aesthetic muscle group. Everyone wants a bigger chest. Don't lie. It's the hardest muscle to build and it's the best one to build. Gives you that gladiator look to the physique, makes you look fuller, helps with that triangle look, and it's like I said, one of the hardest muscle groups to build because people do it wrong. It's a lot easier when you think. You just need to know what to do. And that's what we're going to talk about. So when it comes to building your chest up, it's not that difficult. You just need to do 4 exercises, 2 presses and 2 flies. The reason we do 2 presses is because we can take the chest to failure by pushing up some weights. So maybe we start with an incline press and then we start with a flat press. We'll then hit failure in that. And it's going to be very difficult to keep pressing. You're not going to be able to stimulate any growth from that type of movement, which is what we then move on to 2 flies. So I personally go for the pec deck, the one where you're just going like this, and maybe a cable fly because you'll be able to target the chest from a different angle and you'll be able to get more out of it. Once you've done those 4 exercises, that is it. There is nothing more to do. So it's a case of quality over quantity. Don't try and do everything. Try and do the best exercise very, very well. Abuse them. Take them to failure. Drop set the fuck out of them. And that is the key. You don't want to be doing all these complicated exercises and doing 8 different variations of chest press. There's no need. You need 2 presses and 2 flies. That's it. And you just need to take them to failure. So what you want to think about is how can we actually target the chest in the best way. And if you think about it, the incline bench is going to be the best way. The reason why is because you provide the biggest stretch to the muscle. You provide the biggest range of motion. Because if you're on an incline, then you're able to go much lower with your elbows as opposed to whether you were just on a flat bench. So we always like to start with the incline bench. It also speaks to your it helps with your upper chest growth, which is what is more pronounced. Your upper chest is kind of the hardest part to build, and that's what gives you that fuller look. A lot of people think about targeting the lower chest. Don't even worry about that. Focus on your upper chest, and that's kind of what is going to give you that full look. So the way we do that is by starting with incline bench. And when you're doing any of these exercises, I'll give you a few exercises in a bit, but it's really, really important to understand that you're controlling the negative. I heard this great saying the other day, and it's so true. It's not about how much you can lift, it's about how much you can lower. Think about that. So you want to lift a heavy weight, but you really want to slow it down and make sure that you're lowering the weight with perfect execution. You're doing it really slowly, and then you're driving up, you're pushing up. It's why it's so good to have a training partner and to do drop sets because they can help you push your elbows up when you can't get that positive contraction, but you can keep lowering for maybe another 5, 6 reps. And that's how you double the growth because you're doing more. Just because the positive contraction is done doesn't mean there's not a bit more left in the tank for a bit of negative contraction. That's what you need to focus on. A lot of people, including myself when I started, have just benched all the time, just trying to hit crazy numbers. And it is a good way to start. It definitely is. I think that's kind of how you fall in love with the gym. You start smashing bench and you fucking get used to it. You see the numbers flying. But the point is, in order to do that, you kind of become a power lifter. You basically just try and push up as heavy weight as possible. And our goal is to build muscle, right? So it's not the best way to do it. We want to be making sure that we're really focusing on the contraction and squeezing, and you want to be doing the best exercises for that. So the pro tip, the way to do this as quick as possible and to get to where you want to be quicker is to drop set everything. I know it sounds like bro science, it sounds cliche, but it genuinely is true because the way to train to failure is to eliminate any doubt that you haven't pushed yourself to a limit. And the way you do that is by simply, let's say we're doing an incline press and we go for the 40s. We hit 10 on the 40s and it's a great set. Let's make sure that that wasn't our last rep by picking up the 20s and going for another 10. Let's make sure, again, that those 20s weren't the last and to do 10 kg for another 10. By doing that, you're going the extra mile and you're just eliminating the chance for any kind of misconception whether you've gone to failure or not. You knock it out of the park. We leave no doubt, and that's how we do it. We push your limits. And another really good way is to get a training partner to really help you push your elbows up, like I talked about. You want to train with a partner because they can make you go harder, and you just really want to focus on those last reps. They're what count. Those last reps are fucking fundamental to growth. Like, it's actually insane. You want to be doing that and do that on a week basis, and you will fly. It's that simple. Like I said, you need to train to failure. You need to train really hard, but then you need to rest, because if you keep pushing it, I know it seems like you want to do more and you think that by doing more, you're going to get more results. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Chest is actually one of the hardest muscle groups to recover. You'll notice this because when you train chest, you'll wake up in the morning and you go a stretch and you'll feel that your chest is just destroyed. It takes around 5 days for it to recover. So you training it twice a week seems like a good play in theory. However, it's likely going to cause you to overtrain and actually stunt your muscle growth. It's something I did all the time. I thought by training twice a week chest and benching as much as possible, I'd grow more. It's not the case. It might work at the start, but then you'll hit a plateau and you'll realize actually less is more. So find the quality exercises, take them to failure, execute with perfect form, and then rest, and then rinse and repeat. Do that consistently. I put a last one here saying stop bench pressing. I know it's annoying. You can bench press if you want, but the point is it's not the best exercise just because of how heavy it is on the front delt. Basically, you'll notice that when you do a lot of benching, you get a lot of stimulation in your front delt and you don't get the best contraction for your chest. So it's why I actually recommend to do an incline press with the dumbbells or maybe on a bench, how do I say, a Smith machine, because you will just target a little bit better. You're much more in control and you've got a bit more range of motion. When you're using dumbbells, for example, you can actually come in and converge. Whereas when you're on a bench press, you're quite fixed. You're going up and down. You're not really getting that extra squeeze coming into the middle. So the bench press might be something we want to get rid of. And I'll show you that at the end. I'm going to give you some exercises that I kind of use now. And unfortunately, bench press does not fall into that category. For my taller guys, now this is something I don't have to worry about, being 5'8". However, I've noticed this with a few clients and I've noticed this with a few friends. What tends to happen when you're taller is you've got longer arms and it's very hard to build your chest. The reason why is because what will happen is your shoulders and triceps will give out before your chest actually reaches failure. So in order to prevent this, you basically want to pre-exhaust your chest. It's a great strategy, which I do with kind of legs and I do with back. I don't really do it with chest, but say you're struggling to build your chest, it might be in your interest to actually hit the pec deck, hit some cable flies first, really isolate the chest. So when it comes to you doing your presses, you know that the chest is going to be the muscle that's giving out, not your shoulders and triceps. And that's what's going to make sure that you consistently keep growing. I see sort of a lot of tall guys who just can't seem to develop their chest, and it's genuinely because they're not pre-exhausting it. So try and do that if you're struggling to grow your chest. It might be a game changer for you. And I want to give you my exact program. What I do. It's a case of training in the 6 to 8 rep range. 12 to 15 is not the play because that's training muscular endurance, which is good if you want to focus on that. However, your goal is to lift as heavy as possible. And the truth is you cannot lift heavy for 12 to 15 reps because your cardiovascular system will come into place. It's quite hard to lift a heavy weight for 12 to 8 reps, 12 to 15 reps even. However, 6 to 8 is a sweet spot. That's where you're going to be in that hypertrophy range. You're going to build muscle. So you might as well just stick to that and lift as heavy as possible, because if you can lift a heavier weight and progressively get stronger, you will grow much quicker. Don't go under 6 to 8 reps because that's going to be in the powerlifting territory where you're going for strength and you're not really growing muscle. But 6 to 8, that's a sweet spot. And in terms of what we do, incline press to start with, always. I like the dumbbells. There will come a point where the dumbbells might be a little bit difficult, so maybe you can move over to the Smith machine. It's another great exercise I like to use. But that's your bread and butter to start with, incline bench. After that, you want to go for a flat machine press. It's really nice. It's really easy to stack the weight on and you can really execute with perfect form. Bench press, there's a lot of variables that go wrong. A lot of people tend to ego lift, including myself. So flat machine press, that's kind of what you want to be doing in terms of your presses. Take these to complete failure and then you're sorted. After that, we'll go for a pec deck fly. It's a great movement and it will get you the growth you need. You'll notice that after doing those presses, you're going to be pretty worn out. Once you get those flies in, you'll be able to simulate a little bit more growth. You'll notice that the sets kind of go down in structure. And the reason why is because excess volume is not necessarily good. All right. If we could all do 15 sets of bench press and grow quicker, why would we not? You know, it's not the case. You want to be doing less and you want to be doing more quality reps. So at this point, once you've done 3 sets of this, your chest is going to be pretty fucking warm. It's going to be cooked. So after that, we need to do 2 sets. We're going on to a fly movement, so let's do another 2 sets. And that last set, you don't even need to do a warm-up. You just need to take 1 to failure. So that's kind of all you got to do. Incline bench, flat machine press, pec deck fly, cable fly. That is in every single gym. So there's no excuse not to do that. And you just want to execute that with intensity, not volume. Focus on getting the best out of those reps. By all means, warm up to this weight. I don't want you to kind of start on a weight that's too heavy. Get into the groove of it. Make sure that you're at a good weight. But once you've done that, just start hitting it hard, because those warm up, those extra sets that you don't need to do, dig into your failure sets, the ones that really, really matter. But pretty simply, if you do all of that, that's what is going to grow your chest the quickest way. I cannot stress this. It's not that complicated. You just need to know what to do. If you can implement all of this, your chest will grow very, very quickly. It takes a bit of time, but get the basics down, do this consistently, and keep reviewing. Keep reviewing every week. What could I do better? Am I actually slowing the reps down? Am I focusing on how much I can lower, not how much I can lift? Am I really pushing the limits and going hard? Am I tracking what I'm doing? Make sure that you're tracking and know what you did last week and consistently improve it. If you do this consistently, your chest will grow. There is no doubt. That's all you got to do. I don't want to overcomplicate it. I want to keep this video short because it is very simple. So implement this, try it on your next workout. Use all of these tips and just do this over a consistent period. Do it over a month, 2 months, and just watch what happens to your chest. I guarantee you'll come back to this video and be like, Gabriel, thank you so much for telling me this, because genuinely, that's all it is. I did this for a space of a year and I watched my chest grow crazy amounts of size. So that's all for today. Hope that helps anyone who's struggling to build their chest. Do this, and I guarantee you're going to look like a different person in the space of 1 year. That's all for today, though, fellas. Have a good one.